Now that we've got the tail smoke done, we don't need these frames beforehand. So I'm going to change this back to starting on the first, frame 1 actually, like that. So as it is by default, okay, and I've turned off the visualizations, just got the helicopter there. In fact, we can turn that off as well. So now we're going to start working on the explosion, and specifically the trails within the explosion first is what I want to work on. So I'm going to go back into this smoke source, okay, and because we're going to have, so there's this, there's the, oops, that's, so there's this, there's the trails in the explosion and the explosion itself. I'm going to kind of, what I'm going to do is, let's do it like this, select all that and put a box around it. We can give it a fancy color, press C, I don't know, this color's fine, doesn't matter really, and call this tail smoke. Tail smoke. Okay, so they'll all be inside, put that to one side there, and put this maybe kind of in the middle like that. So it starts on the trails. Let's, so I'm going to drop a delete here. We go, and then we can look at our helicopter. I want to use, so on this helicopter we've got this shop material path, right? So press 9 and go into attributes, shop material path, and I will let you make a selection based on this attribute. So I'm going to select this body shader, just click on that, press enter, and there we go, that's made that selection, and then we're going to do delete non-selected. So I just wanted to grab this part in the middle here. Okay, and let's just call this ISO body. Right, and I want to simplify this geometry a bit. We've got this in, I don't know why it bothers me, but we press 9 to get rid of that as well. So I'm going to drop a convex hull. Convex hull, there you are. Okay, and that will just simplify the geometry, just give us one unbroken watertight piece of geometry, and that's fine like that. And then I'm going to remesh this. Actually, let's find the point. So we need to see, when this helicopter crashes. Maybe let's see the helicopter itself up here. Let's watch this one, might be a bit faster without having to convert. So into the simulation, there's a point at which it kind of hits the ground, and that's when we want the explosion. Basically, when is the beginning of the explosion, right? So about kind of there, you can see it's touching the ground. So yeah, let's drop a time shift for that. We'll go to frame 53, so that will be frozen at that point. So anything beyond here, these won't be time dependent, so be much faster. Okay, I want to remesh this. So basically, I'm going to use this as an emission point for some points, right? So the camera's here. This is frame 53, so I want to have a couple of points kind of shooting out because of the camera angle. I think I'd like them going off to the side here and a few off to this side. So I'm going to use this as an emission point, this side of the geometry and this side of the geometry, to shoot some points out to the side and use them to generate smoke trails, right? So, and because of the way the convex hull works, it generates this weird geometry. So I'm just going to remesh this quickly, just to give me, something more to work with. At the defaults there is fine. And then I'm going to drop a delete. Oops, what did I get that? Detangle, don't want that. I'm going to delete just the portion in the middle. I'm trying to keep this as kind of procedural as possible, right? Obviously I could just make selections to grab, I'm deleting the middle part here, or paint on the surface of the geometry. But this way, I could plug in a different helicopter and it should work more or less. So we're going to use a bounding volume for this. Let's find it and bring it over. Oh. I find this camera is kind of acting a bit strange, but there we are. Okay. So I'm going to bring it over this way and scale it up a bit and out. So kind of something like that. So the idea is that I just want points on this side and that side. Okay, that's basically it. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, so let me round up these values. So we'll do 6 by 4 by 4. We don't need any elevation. Do 0. Well, do 1 actually. You know, I want to cut off the middle there. 1, and then this minus 37 is good. Great. Okay. Excuse me. Let's say the delete middle. Remesh this time shift. I'll put frame 53. The rest of these are fine. Don't need any special names on there. Okay, and then I'm going to scatter some points on here. Right. Obviously, we don't want a load of points. I just want 10. So this is how many smoke trails are we going to have. We're going to have 10. So, you know, this number is kind of important. And now we need to give this some velocity, right? So we're going to have a particle sim down here. I know this is smoke source, but it's, you know, a really simple, quick simulation. And we want the points kind of exploding outward, right? And to give them a direction, what I'm going to do is use the center of this, which will be about here, to drive the direction of the velocity. Okay, so to get the center, if I drop a pack, quick and easy way to get the center of a piece of geometry, that will give me 1 point in the middle, right? If I do that and set this to wireframe or bounding box, no. Well, wireframe, you can kind of see it there. There's 1 point in the middle. Okay. You can see that gives you the point at the pivot location. And then if I drop in a wrangle, so connect this to my first input and the pack to the this point into the second input, visualize that. Okay, and then we're going to create the velocity here. So v at v is so we can use the point function because we're getting the position from the second input. Okay, so we can't just use at p. If we use the attribute at p, we'll just take this the position of the point in here, but we want it from the second input, so we need to use this this function to fetch that, right? So this is into the first input, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and the name of the attribute is p, and just 0 there for you know, just the default value. I think that's 4, in case there's any mistake, in case it doesn't find a value. And we want to minus that position, so we want to minus the position of this from the position of every point in the first input, okay, which is p here, and that's it basically. Okay, so if we visualize that, and then if we take a look at the velocity, that's very small. So if we scale that up, you can see now, let's see, how can I, if we merge it maybe, and if I drop an add, this just for visualization, this bit I'm going to delete it in a moment, these two nodes. There we go. So you can see the velocity is going between each point going into the first input and the points going into the second input. Okay, so that gives me a direction basically. So I want them more, obviously this is an explosion on the ground, so I want them going up a bit more. So I'm just going to drop a transform under here, right, and I'm just going to move these down a bit. We can actually kind of visualize that maybe. If I do that, no, it's a bit annoying with this. Let's do it under the add. It's not necessary to remove that geometry because it's just picking up that 1 point anyway. but I'm doing just so we can see. So you can see as I move that round, it's kind of cool. You can affect the direction of the of your points, right? So I'm going to round this number up to -2. So I've got a nice kind of direction of these points shooting off there. As I said, I'm just going to delete this merge. That doesn't matter at all. And then we'll drop this into a pop network. Okay, let's go. Let's not connect that up. Go back to the first frame. Connect that up to the first input. And by default, it's not doing anything. Okay, we need to go inside. Come here to the source and use, we want to use all points. And you can see there now it's doing something. It's kind of scattering, it's generating points on every frame. And obviously we don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm going to come to, yeah, we want all points from the first context. That's fine. And then for the birth, we just wanted generating points on the beginning of the explosion, right? So this impulse activation, if I turn that to 0, it's not going to generate any points. If I turn it up, it's going to generate points. Basically, this it's basically 0 or 1. You know, it's on or off. So I'm just going to drop a quick expression in here. So if the frame number is less than 54, so that means 53 is true, it's going to generate points, right? And if I start the simulation on frame 53, okay, then we will get points on just one frame. You see that? So they're going in the wrong direction now. So let's just quickly here v at v times equals -1 to negate that. I think that should work. No, it's still going the wrong way. If we reset, no, what have I done wrong there? Oh, I've got times plus. There we go. So now they're going in the right direction.